The Boston Celtics stay hot as they picked up the win against the Oklahoma City Thunder last night to make their streak 4 straight games in a row, as they now sit in a virtual tie for the second seed in the Eastern Conference with the Bucks and the 76ers, where all of which sit 2.5 games back from the top-seeded Miami Heat. After winning out on this 4-game Western road trip, the Celtics sit comfortably in at least the 4th seed going into the final stretch of the season, and throughout these past 4 games, the Celtics displayed their dominance on the court on both sides of the ball and continued to show the world why this team is a legit championship contender. This team has completely flipped the script of their season, as they have the NBA's best record since the 23rd of January at 22-4, and this surge could not have come at a better time, as the regular season is nearing the end and the Celtics are getting ready to make a serious playoff push. It all starts with the team's defense being one of, if not the most elite out of any team in the league, almost leading the league in every defensive category, as they rank first in defensive rating, first in opponents' field goal percentage, first in opponents' points per game, first in opponents' assists per game, and first in scoring margin, whereas the only major defensive categories where the Celtics don't rank in first is in blocks and opponents' points in the paint per game, where they respectively rank second in the NBA. Also, only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Enjoy the video. From the front office to the coaching to the players, this team is finally living up to the standards that this team hoped they could accomplish at the start of the season, as they acquired the right pieces during the offseason to allow for this defense to become elite. Ime Udoka, the Celtics head coach, and his coaching staff have been nothing short of phenomenal ever since we started seeing consistency in this lineup, as he created all sorts of successful lineup combinations over the past months, and this allowed for the Celtics to evolve into a team that was once incredibly isolation heavy on offense to a team that now displays the opposite with constant ball movement all night long, unlocking what this team has in store offensively while also having elite switching ability on defense, making this team a nightmare for teams to go up against. And then lastly, the way the guys on this team have bought into this new style of play so quickly and effectively halfway through the year amazes me, as they all individually have the talent of being elite defenders who have now come together to create this force field of a smothering defense. The defensive anchor on this team, Robert Williams, is tied for first in the league with Rudy Gobert and Jaren Jackson Jr. for blocks per game with 2.2, and Marcus Smart, the heart and soul of this defense, bringing the intensity, heart, and grit to every game, as he ranks in the top 5 in steals per game with 1.7, where both should honestly be considered to get votes for the Defensive Player of the Year award, as they are the cornerstones to the best defense in the NBA. But a defense this good can't just be made up of 2 guys, and it most certainly isn't, as Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown both have very similar tools on that end, being extremely strong perimeter defenders with the size, length, and athleticism they have to guard multiple positions, and Al Horford is a perfect piece alongside Robert Williams as a tandem that holds down the paint. Coming off the bench, Grant Williams and Derek White also provide the consistency of having the same game plan defensively as well, as they both have the frames to continue this elite level switching ability that this Celtics thrive at. It may start with the defense, and that is what's going to give this team the best chance to seriously make a run this postseason, but what's going to take this team to that next level to seriously contend for a championship this year is the man himself in Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum has completely turned his season around, and this in hand has been another one of the main factors to the Celtics turnaround as well, as he is the cornerstone to this franchise, and rightfully so, as I honestly believe that the longevity of this Celtics success this season is going to run through what Tatum can bring to the floor in the postseason. He is currently on a streak of 3 straight 30-point efforts, which even saw him become just the second pair of Celtics teammates alongside Jalen Brown to each score 30+ points in back-to-back games, and all 3 of these games that Tatum has dropped 30, he's been able to shoot an absurd 65.4% from the field and 58.1% from from 3. Unfortunately, Brown wasn't able to notch another 30-point night last night, so the streak did end, but this shouldn't take anything away from the magnificence of another fantastic Jason Tatum performance, as he had 36 points last night while adding 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a block while shooting 57.9% from the field and 45.5% from 3. It's been the MVP-like performances from him that tied this team together, as in his last 16 games, where honestly these performances reach far before that as well, but his last 16 in particular have been something that I need to touch upon, as if he'd been performing like this all season, there is no question Tatum would be one of the front runners to win the NBA's MVP award, and honestly I think the Celtics would have had the #1 seed as well. In his last 16, he's been averaging 32 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists, and the absolutely terrifying thing about it all is that he's been able to average 50% shooting from the field while taking over 20 shots a game and 42.5% from 3 while nearly taking 10 threes a game, as these are numbers that you don't just see every day, as Tatum has been playing like a bona fide superstar for the Celtics as of late. I still will be going over the other main pieces of this Celtics core right now. However, if you want a more in-depth look at these players, be sure to check out all of my recent Celtics videos after this one, where I went more in depth on the depth of this roster. Starting with Jalen Brown, another guy where the success of the Celtics is going to be in large part due to what Brown can do on the court, and recently he's been nothing short of phenomenal, being Tatum's right-hand man. Over his last 3 games, Brown has been heating up, averaging 28.3 points per game, nearly 2 steals a game, and all of this, which is the most important statistic to me, is the fact that he shot 58.9% from the field and 50% from 3. If Brown is able to have stretches like these in the playoffs, alongside everything else the Boston Celtics have been elite at recently, there is yet another reason to get excited about the potential of this team this year. I've already went over just how much Marcus Smart and Robert Williams bring to the table defensively, so that obviously leaves me with what they bring to the table on offense. They do have less of a role in comparison to defense, yet Smart is one of the prime playmakers on this team, where honestly his job is just to try to get Tatum and Brown going on offense and let them do their things so he can focus on what he does best. And Robert Williams is a guy that brings a ton to the table, as he scored 10 or more points in every single game the team played in February. That saw him also just go 3 games in February with less than double-digit rebounds. Al Horford has shown us a blast from the past, as he's had flashes of phenomenal stretches this season where he is an incredibly solid piece around the other 4 starters on this team with years of experience in the NBA. Grant Williams, one of the key pieces off the bench for this team, was placed into the starting lineup for Robert Williams, who missed last night's contest, had a great game, dropping 20 and 10, shooting 50% from the field, as he's been an extremely solid role player on this team, emerging as one of the premier 3-point shooters in the NBA, as he's currently tied for 4th, shooting 42.2% from 3 on the year, and has that defensive versatility that I mentioned earlier. The same could be said for Derek White, being the playmaker to come off the bench for this team, as he's a combo guard that has this similar size to guard multiple positions, and he may have even had a wake-up game last night, filling in as a starter as well, dropping 18, 5, and 5, shooting 50% from the field. And then lastly, Peyton Pritchard is emerging as another bench option on this team, looking extremely confident last night offensively coming off the bench, and Daniel Tice is another rotational guy that brings a lot to the table for this team defensively. All in all, this Celtics team is as complete as it has ever been over the years, and they genuinely have a shot to make it and win the Eastern Conference Finals, considering how open the East is this year, with the fact that this team is playing their best basketball right now, and it doesn't look like that's going to stop anytime soon. Let me know down below in the comments how far you think this Celtics team is going to go in the playoffs. As always, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit that like button to help this video get shared along YouTube's algorithm, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more NBA videos like this one that I will be posting multiple times per week. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great night.